Hello students, in the last class we completed the vapor pressure of a solution containing the two volatile liquids and the Raoult's law. Okay, now in this today's lecture we are going to discuss a very important concept that is called ideal solutions and non-ideal solutions. Okay, now ideal solutions, the definition of a ideal solutions, the solutions which follow the Raoult's law, which obeys the Raoult's law under the all conditions of concentrations at a constant temperature or a given temperature. The basic definition of an ideal solution which obey Raoult's law, which follows Raoult's law. Okay, now here let's suppose consider a ideal solution containing two volatile liquids A and B. Okay, now in the last class we completed the Raoult's law regarding the vapor pressure of a solution containing two volatile liquids. Let's suppose A is a liquid and B is also a liquid, and these two are volatile liquids. What is the partial pressure of a liquid A? That will be PA will be equal to P naught A times of XA, and the partial pressure of B will be in the solution P naught B into XB. Yes or no? So what will be the P total of the solution? Nothing but PA plus PB. That is nothing but P naught A XA plus P naught B XB. So this is called Raoult's law. What is this? This is called Raoult's law. The solutions which follow this Raoult's law is known as a ideal solution. Okay. Now let's suppose P naught A will be the vapor pressure of a pure component A, and P naught B will be the vapor pressure of a pure component B, and XA XB are the mole fraction of component A and component B in the solution. Then what will be the total pressure of the solution? That will be P total will be equal to P naught A times of XA plus P naught B times of XB. So this is nothing but the Raoult's law. This is what? Raoult's law. Are you getting my point? Now here in a ideal solution, the force of attraction between the solvent molecules and the solute molecules exactly same as that of the original solvent molecules and original solute molecules. That means let's suppose here the interaction between the AA, that will be the interaction between the BB will be equal to the interaction between the A and B molecules. That means let's suppose I am adding component A to the component B. When these two combine to give another solution, that is a AB type of solution. Now the condition, the intermolecular force of attraction in AA molecules as intermolecular force of attraction BB molecules, and the intermolecular force of attraction between AB molecules must be identical, must be similar. This is the main criteria regarding the ideal solutions. Are you getting my point? Now what are the conditions for formation of ideal solution? If two liquids are mixing to form an ideal solution, the primary condition, they must have similar structures and also polarity. Okay, so that they have similar intermolecular environment. Number 2, similar molecular size, and number 3, having the same intermolecular, that is the same identical intermolecular forces. That means the first condition will be the similar structure and polarity. Second thing, both the liquids should possess molecular size similar, and both the liquids will have identical intermolecular forces. Okay. Now what are the characteristics of an ideal solution? By mixing of two substances to form an ideal solution, the basic criteria, they must follow, the solution should obey Raoult's law. And the next one is after intermixing of the two solutions, the change in enthalpy should be 0. That means neither heat liberated nor heat absorbed. Are you getting my point? That means it is neither exothermic nor endothermic. After intermixing of the two liquids to form a binary ideal solution, there will be no change in the volume after intermixing. What is the meaning of this one? Let's suppose I have one solution 100 ml benzene. Okay. Now I am adding to the 100 ml benzene, let's suppose 80 ml of a toluene. 80 ml of a toluene. And what will be the resultant volume of the solution? That will be 180 ml of resultant solution. That means here the volume of a one liquid V1 and the volume of another liquid V2, and what is the volume of a final solution? That will be equal to V1 plus V2. That means there will be no any change in the volume after intermixing. Such solution is referred as a ideal binary solution. Are you getting my point? Now, the important criteria for the spontaneity of a process, we know in the thermodynamics chapter, change in Gibbs energy must be negative and change in enthalpy must be positive. So for any two components of liquids, when we are mixing to form a solution, the criteria should be what? Change in Gibbs energy will be negative and change in entropy will be positive. So these are the basic conditions, that is the regarding for ideal solution. Are you getting my point? Now here, no chemical interaction between solute and solvent. This is very important regarding the ideal solution. That means the two components must be almost same, having the same functional group. And in organic chemistry, we know same homologous series means having the same functional group. That is a chemical reactivity. But only the thing is that there is a change in the molecular formula by CH2 unit, the successive members. Okay. Now what are the examples regarding the ideal solution? The best example here we have benzene and toluene. Do you know the molecular structure of a benzene? That will be C6 and H6, and the molecular formula of a benzene C6H5CH3. So if you observe these two compounds have almost identical similarity, similar polarity, identical sizes. Are you getting my point? And have same intermolecular force of attraction. That's why these two liquids will form ideal solution. Okay. And the second example, N-hexane, N-heptane. Third example, ethyl chloride and ethyl bromide. Next one, chlorobenzene, bromobenzene, ethyl alcohol, methyl alcohol, N-butyl chloride, N-butyl bromide. So these are the important examples regarding the ideal solutions. Regarding which solutions? Ideal solutions. So we have to remember some examples regarding the ideal solution. Okay. Once again I am repeating some important examples of regarding ideal solution. Benzene plus toluene, N-hexane plus N-heptane, ethyl chloride plus ethyl bromide, chlorobenzene and bromobenzene, ethyl alcohol and methyl alcohol, N-butyl chloride and N-butyl bromide. Okay. Vapor pressure of ideal solutions. Now in the last class we completed the vapor pressure curve regarding the two volatile liquids of a binary solution. Okay. Now on the y-axis I am taking the vapor pressure. On the y-axis I am using the vapor pressure, whereas on the x-axis I am taking the mole fraction. On the x-axis I am using here mole fraction. Okay. Now we have two components, liquid A and liquid B. Let's suppose here liquid A mole fraction will be 0, and on the right hand side liquid B mole fraction is 0. That means as we move from left to right, liquid A mole fraction increases to the maximum value 1. If you move from right to left, the liquid B mole fraction will be increases and reaches to maximum value 1. So on the left side only liquid B will be present 100%. That's why we have only the pure component liquid B partial pressure, that will be P0 B. On the right side we will have 100% of only component A. So that's why we have only the partial pressure of A, that is the pure vapor pressure of liquid A, that will be the P0 A. Now consider, this is one assumption, consider A is more volatile than B. This is only assumption. Okay. That's why the vapor pressure of a liquid A, component A, will be always greater than the component B, because we are considering that A has a more tendency to escape into the space, that is more volatile as compared to the B. It is not always compulsory. If you have, you can take the liquid B also more volatile than the liquid A, but only for simplicity I am taking out of A and B. A is a more volatile, that's why the component A has more vapor pressure and component B has less vapor pressure. When these two components are mixing, then the resultant solution vapor pressure must be lie in between these two values. Okay. That means the vapor pressure of a solution should not be less than the vapor pressure of a pure component B and should not be greater than the vapor pressure of a pure component A. Are you getting my point? Now the components of ideal solution can be separated in the pure form by the fractional distillation. So what is the fractional distillation? We will discuss in the next class. Okay. Now there are some other solutions known as a non-ideal solutions. what is the definition of a non-ideal solution? The name is itself indicating that it is not following the Raoult's law, because ideal solution always follow Raoult's law, but whereas the non-ideal solution, they do not obey the Raoult's law. What are the non-ideal solutions definition? The solution which do not follow the Raoult's law. That means, what is the Raoult's law? According to Raoult's law, the partial pressure of any liquid in a solution will be equal to the product of its mole fraction in the solution and also its vapor pressure in the pure component, in the pure state. So Pa will be equal to P naught A into XA, and one more component, let's suppose component B, partial pressure Pb will be equal to product of its vapor pressure in the pure state and mole fraction Okay, now the non-ideal solutions, what is the definition? Which do not follow the Raoult's law. That means Pa value not equal to P naught A XA and Pb value not equal to P naught B XB. So whenever we are adding the P total, what is the actual P total from the Raoult's law? That will be equal to Pa plus Pb. Nothing but P naught A into XA plus P naught B into XB. Now they do not follow the Raoult's law. That means the P total will be not equal to Pa plus Pb. Such solutions are known as a non-ideal solutions. Are you getting my pen? The basic difference between ideal and non-ideal solution. In non-ideal solution, the intermolecular force of attraction between AA molecules and BB molecules is completely different from the AB molecules. Are you getting my point? That means, whereas in ideal solution, the intermolecular force of attraction between solute and solvent and solute almost identical. But whereas here solute, solvent, intermolecular forces are completely different from the solute intermolecular force of attractions. Are you getting my point? Now, what are the conditions for the non-ideal solution? In the non-ideal solution, the change in enthalpy is not equal to 0. That means either it may be exothermic or endothermic. Are you getting my point? But whereas in the ideal solution, neither exothermic nor endothermic. And after intermixing of solution, the resultant volume will changes. Are you getting my point? There will be definitely change in the volume. So either volume should increase or either the volume should decrease. Okay. And the last two conditions, that will be the spontaneous process. These conditions are always equal, always same for both ideal as well as non-ideal solution, because the formation of a solution is a spontaneous phenomena. Whether it is ideal or non-ideal, no matter takes place, but the thing is the change in Gibbs enthalpy will be negative and change in entropy after mixing of two components of liquids will be positive. So this is regarding spontaneous process. Are you getting my point? So this is valid for both ideal as well as non-ideal solutions. Okay, now come to, there are how many types of non-ideal solutions? There are two types of non-ideal solutions. The first one, non-ideal solutions showing the positive deviation from the Raoult's law. Non-ideal solutions with negative deviation from the Raoult's law. So how many types of non-ideal solutions we have? Two types. What are those? Non-ideal solutions with positive deviation from whom? From Raoult's law. Whereas number two, non-ideal solutions with negative deviation from Raoult's law. Okay. Now what are the basic differences between the non-ideal solutions with positive deviation and non-ideal solutions with negative deviation? Okay. The first characteristic value, experimental pressure. Experimental pressure here, in case of a positive deviation from positive deviation from Raoult's law will be predicted more than that of the Raoult's law. So Raoult's law, if you calculate the pressure experimentally and if you calculate the pressure from the Raoult's law, both the vapor pressures are not equal. That means here the vapor pressure of a component A is greater than the P naught A into XA, and the vapor pressure of component B is greater than the P naught B into XB. Are you getting my point? So here the total pressure experimentally determined value will always greater than the sum of the partial pressure of the two components in the solution. Are you getting my point? So this is called positive deviation, because the experimental value of a vapor pressure is greater than the calculated value from the Raoult's law. Whereas in the non-ideal solution with a negative deviation, so they have less pressure they have less than the predicted from the Raoult's law. The pressure of experimental value will always be less than the theoretical value that is calculated by using the Raoult's law. That means the vapor pressure of a component A in the solution Pa less than P naught A times of XA, and the component B vapor pressure Pb is less than the P naught B XB. Okay, so the overall experimental value of a total vapor pressure is less than the sum of the vapor pressure of a component A and B. Are you getting my point? So this is called non-ideal solution showing the positive deviation, as well as non-ideal solutions showing the negative deviation from the Raoult's law. Are you getting my point? Now here the next difference will be the volume of intermixing. After intermixing, the final volume definitely increases. That's why change in the volume greater than 0 in case of a positive deviation, whereas in the negative deviation the change in value will be less than 0, that is negative. That's why it is called negative deviation. Are you getting my point? Now the next difference will be the enthalpy of mixing. After mixing of two liquids, if you see the change in enthalpy, it is greater than 0, that means the change in enthalpy is positive, whereas in the negative deviation the change in enthalpy will be negative. The change in enthalpy is positive, nothing but this process, heat absorbed process, that means endothermic. Are you getting my point? Whereas in the negative deviation, heat liberated, that's why this is called what? Exothermic. Are you getting my point? And one more difference, the main difference between the non-ideal solutions showing the positive deviation from Raoult's law and negative deviation from the Raoult's law, that is depending upon the intermolecular force of attraction. Suppose if you see solute and solvent molecular intermolecular forces are very weak as compared to solute and solvent. That means here the solute solvent intermolecular force of attractions become what? Strengthened, weak as compared to solute and pure solvent. When the solute solvent intermolecular force of attractions are very weak, then the molecules, they try to escape into the vapor phase, thereby increases the vapor pressure. That's why this is called positive deviation. Are you getting my point? And next, one more important here, in the negative deviation, if you see the intermolecular force of attraction between solute and solvent, it is stronger as compared to solute as well as solvent. That means the intermolecular force of attraction between solvent is very strong as compared to the solute solvent in their pure state. Due to strong intermolecular force of attraction between solute and solvent, it has a less tendency to escape into the space. When the molecules have a less tendency to escape into the space, the vapor pressure decreases. That's why it is called negative deviation. That's why it is called what? Negative deviation. Are you getting my point? Now there are some important examples regarding the non-ideal solutions with positive deviation and non-ideal solutions with negative deviation. So these examples are very, very important examples. We have to remember each and every example regarding the examination. Are you getting my point? The first example, methanol and water. Second example, ethyl alcohol, water. Okay. Now third example, ethyl alcohol plus hexane. Fourth example, ethyl alcohol cyclohexane. Next example, chloroform carbon tetrachloride. Next, carbon tetrachloride benzene, carbon tetrachloride toluene, acetone plus carbon disulfide, acetone plus ethyl alcohol, acetone plus benzene. So these are the examples regarding the non-ideal solution showing the positive deviation from the Raoult's law. Okay, and come to right hand side, the non-ideal solutions showing the negative deviation from Raoult's law. Example, water plus HCl, water plus HNO3, water plus formic acid, and chloroform plus acetone plus aniline, chloroform plus diethyl ether, water plus acetic acid, phenol plus aniline. So these are the examples regarding the non-ideal solutions which shows negative deviation from the Raoult's law. So how to remember these examples? Okay, I will tell you by taking one example on the left side and right side. Okay, let's suppose I am taking the which deviation? Positive deviation from the Raoult's law. Let's suppose the best example here we are considering the ethyl alcohol and acetone. Ethyl alcohol and acetone. So this is the ninth example I am taking. Okay. Now, do you know ethanol? That is a alcohol. If you see the methanol, if you see ethanol, whatever the alcohol, okay. Now the alcohol has having intermolecular force of attraction, hydrogen bonding. Yes or no? Into this alcohol, I am taking R. R is a any alkyl group. If you take the methyl group, you will get methyl alcohol. Otherwise, if you take the R value ethyl group, you will get the ethyl alcohol. Okay, that is ethanol. Now, these are the intermolecular force of attraction between the alcohol molecules. These force of attractions are regarding these are the regarding hydrogen bonding forces. Which forces? Hydrogen bonding forces. Now, what I am adding to the alcohol? I am adding acetone. When acetone is added, acetone, what happens? It will break the hydrogen bonding already present in the pure alcohol molecules. When the acetone is added to the pure alcohol, what happens? The acetone will try to break the intermolecular hydrogen bonding between the intermolecular hydrogen bonding that is already present between the alcohol molecules. Due to addition of acetone to the pure alcohol, the strength of hydrogen bond, what happens? Decreases. When the strength of hydrogen bond decreases, that means these molecules, that means overall the solution has more tendency to escape into space. More tendency to escape into space. More tendency to escape into the space. Nothing but more vapor pressure. So more vapor pressure, that means corresponding to alcohol and acetone. If both are added, the resultant solution has more vapor pressure. That's why it is corresponding to positive deviation from the Raoult's law. Positive deviation from what? Raoult's law. Are you getting my point? This is the best example. Even if you see water and alcohol, water has strong hydrogen bonding. If you add the alcohol to the water, what happens? The alcohol molecules, what they do? They add it into the in between the molecules of the host molecules, and they break some hydrogen bonding. Due to breaking of hydrogen bonding, okay, the strength of hydrogen bonding, what happens? Weakens. That's why the solution molecules will have more tendency to escape into the space. That's why more vapor pressure solution shows. That's why the solution is known as a positive deviation from the non-ideal solution. Okay. And one more example, we have acetone and carbon disulfide. Acetone and carbon disulfide. Okay. Here also acetone having the dipole intermolecular force of attraction. Do you know acetone is a CH3 C double bond O CH3. So here oxygen is more electronegative as compared to carbon. So due to which it possesses polar bond. It possesses polar, okay, or polar bond or polarity. When carbon disulfide is added to the pure acetone, the intermolecular force of attractions are significantly decreases, thereby tendency to escape into the vapor phase increases, thereby vapor pressure increases. So it is also corresponding to positive deviation from the Raoult's law. Okay, the non-ideal solution with positive deviation. Now we are going to take one example regarding the negative deviation from the Raoult's law. The best example we are considering phenol and aniline. Phenol and aniline. Do you know phenol? That is a C6H5OH. C6H5OH. And what is the molecular formula of aniline? That will be C6H5NH2. If you see carefully observe, there is a strong intermolecular force of attraction between the phenolic hydrogen and the lone pair of nitrogen on the aniline. So this strong intermolecular force of attraction, nothing but hydrogen bonding. This hydrogen bonding strength will be more if you compare the hydrogen bonding in phenol molecules along itself, otherwise hydrogen bonding in aniline itself. That means when we compare the hydrogen bonding strength in pure phenol or pure aniline, the intermolecular force of attraction between phenolic hydrogen and lone pair of nitrogen on aniline will have strong hydrogen bonding. Due to increasing of strong intermolecular force of attraction, this solution has a less tendency to escape into space. Less tendency to escape into the space. When the less tendency to escape into the space, in the sense less vapor pressure than the predicted from the Raoult's law. That's why this is called negative deviation from the Raoult's law. non-ideal solution showing the negative deviation from the Raoult's law. Okay, and one more example, we have acetone and chloroform. We have two examples. What is the first example we are taking here? Number one, phenol and aniline example we are taking, and number two, we are considering the acetone and chloroform. Okay, now you see acetone, just now I told you acetone having dipole intermolecular force of attractions. Okay, now this is a chloroform CsCl3. Due to, if you see, due to chlorine more electronegativity, due to more electronegativity of chlorine, it tries to pull the sigma electron more towards itself. As a result of this, carbon possesses positive charge. Are you getting my point? This carbon try to pull the electron from the hydrogen. That's why hydrogen overall possess positive charge. Are you getting my point? Due to the positive charge present on the hydrogen, it try to pull the lone pair of electron present in the oxygen atom in the acetone molecule, due to which there will be a strong hydrogen bonding present between the acetone and chloroform. This hydrogen bonding strength will be even stronger when we compare in the pure acetone or when we compare in the pure chloroform. When these two are mixing in the resulted solution, the intermolecular force of attraction, what happens? Increases. Due to increasing of intermolecular force of attraction in the solution as compared to the solute solvent molecule, the solution has a less tendency to escape into the space. That's why the solution shows less vapor pressure than expected, than predicted from the Raoult's law. That's why these two examples are corresponding to non-ideal solutions with negative deviation. Okay, now the graph regarding the non-ideal solution showing the positive deviation and negative deviation. Now this dotted line, this is corresponding to the ideal nature. Now if we see the total pressure of a non-ideal solution showing the positive deviation predicted will be more as compared with the Raoult's law. That means this is the experimental pressure, and the dotted line will be corresponding to Raoult's law calculated pressure. From the Raoult's law calculated pressure, this is always greater than. That's why the curve will be upper. The curve will be above the dotted lines. Okay, this will be the total pressure. Even if you compare with the pure pure liquids. So pure liquid A has more pure liquid A in the solution. If you see, Pa will be greater than the P naught A XA. And here also this will be the Pb, that will be equal to P naught B XB, that will be calculated from the Raoult's law. But experimentally it was observed that the Pb value will be greater than the calculated from the Raoult's law. So that's why it is known as a positive deviation. But whereas here if you see in the second diagram, so this is the dotted line that is corresponding to Raoult's law. Okay, but the total pressure calculated experimentally found pressure is less than the pressure calculated by using the Raoult's law. This is a negative deviation. Okay, now the component B having the pressure Pb and component A having the pressure Pa in the solution. Are you getting my point? So here also if you observe, in the first case the pressure of A in the solution will be greater than P naught A times of XA, and the partial pressure of B will be greater than P naught B times of XB regarding the positive deviation. Whereas regarding the negative deviation, Pa will be less than P naught A times of XA, and Pb will be less than P naught B times of XB. Are you getting my point? That's why the P total will be greater than Pa plus Pb. Here the P total will be less than sum of Pa and Pb. If the total pressure, experimentally observed total pressure, is always greater than the calculated from the Raoult's law, that is called positive deviation. If the experimental total pressure value will be less than the sum of the partial pressure of the component A and B as calculated from the Raoult's law, that is called negative deviation. Are you getting my point? And one more last important topic in this class, we have azeotropies, nothing but constant boiling mixtures. Okay, Now it is a binary non-ideal solution. Which solution will form azeotropy mixture? Non-ideal solution. So these azeotropies cannot be resolved, cannot be separated into the pure form with the help of distillation. Okay. Now here, suppose in an ideal solution two components A and B are present. In ideal solution we can separate the two components. We can separate the two components with the help of a distillation phenomena, which we will discuss in the next class. Okay. Now during the distillation, what happens? The component which is more volatile has more mole fraction in the vapor phase than in the liquid phase. That means, let's suppose we are taking A and B, two components in a given solution. Okay. Let's suppose A is more volatile. A is what? More volatile. That means B is, let's suppose, less volatile. Okay. Now on heating the solution AB, which component will be present in the more mole fraction in the vapor phase? Obviously the compound which is more volatile, because more volatile compound has a more tendency to escape into the space. That's why during the distillation phenomena, the more volatile component has more mole fraction in the vapor phase, okay, than that of in the liquid phase. Otherwise the component which is having less volatile nature has more mole fraction in the liquid phase than in the vapor phase. That means here more volatile compound richer in vapor phase, less volatile compound will be richer in the solution phase or liquid phase. Are you getting my point? Now the separation of these components from the solution, it is difficult, it is not possible in case of a non-ideal solution. Okay. However, there is a existing of some solutions of a particular composition with mole fraction of components in the liquid and vapor phase is same. Let's suppose some liquids we have in the solution, they have same composition both in the vapor phase as well as the liquid phase. Such composition mixture is known as a azeotropic mixture. Azeotropic mixture. Are you getting my point? That means azeotropic mixtures are those mixtures which have constant boiling temperature. Suppose if you boil the azeotropic mixture, the components both will be simultaneously get vaporized in the vapor form. If you condense the component, if you condense the azeotropic mixture, both A and B are simultaneously condensed to give liquid. Okay. That means both in liquid form as well as in vapor form, the azeotropic mixtures will possess same composition. Such mixtures are known as azeotropic mixtures. Azeotropic mixtures are the binary solutions of non-ideal solutions having the same composition in liquid as well as in the vapor phase. Are you getting my point? That means they boils at a constant temperature. Azeotropic mixtures boils at a constant temperature. Now there are two different types of azeotropic mixtures. Number one, minimum boiling point azeotropy. Number two, maximum boiling azeotropy. Minimum boiling azeotropy, maximum boiling azeotropy. Minimum boiling azeotropies are those non-ideal solutions which shows large positive deviation. We know in positive deviation, what happens? Vapor pressure of a solution increases than expected from the Raoult's law. We know boiling point and vapor pressure are inversely proportional. Yes, boiling point and vapor pressure are inversely proportional. Those non-ideal solutions showing a large positive deviation from the Raoult's law will possess more vapor pressure, then they possess less boiling point. Because vapor pressure increases, boiling point decreases. Because we know that definition of a boiling temperature, it is a temperature at where the vapor pressure of any liquid will be equal to the external pressure or surrounding pressure. Are you getting my point? If the vapor pressure increases, that means less temperature is required to equal the vapor pressure of a liquid or solution to the surrounding pressure. That's why the liquid or solution will boils at low temperature. Okay. Now that's why the solutions known as a minimum boiling azeotropies. The minimum name is itself giving that it possesses maximum vapor pressure. It possesses large or maximum vapor pressure. The boiling point of the mixture will be less than that of the pure components. the azeotropy, the minimum boiling azeotropy containing the boiling point less as compared to the pure components in the solution. Okay, let's suppose the best example we have water and ethyl alcohol. Do you know what is the boiling point of water? 100 degrees Celsius. And what is the boiling point of ethyl alcohol? 78.4 degrees Celsius. Okay, we know in the fermentation phenomena, okay, in the fermentation process of sugar on the fractional crystallization, it will give the water plus ethanol composition. In this, what happens? The ethanol will be 95% by volume, and approximately 5% volume of water will be present, and 95% volume of ethanol is present. This composition is known as a azeotropic mixture, and the mixture boils at a 78.2 degrees Celsius temperature. This is a constant boiling temperature. If you observe the boiling point of pure water and pure ethanol, the boiling point of a mixture will be less than the pure components. That's why the name is given as a minimum boiling azeotropy. Minimum boiling azeotropy. Okay, now the next one will be the maximum boiling azeotropy. So these are the non-ideal solutions which shows large negative deviation. Negative deviation means minimum vapor pressure. Are you getting my point? So we know negative deviation, they show low vapor pressure. We know vapor pressure decreases, boiling point increases. That's why the boiling point will increases. Okay, when we compare with the individual components in the mixture. Okay, a non-ideal solution which shows a large negative deviation, that is the minimum vapor pressure, will form from the Raoult's law, deviate from the Raoult's law, will form the maximum boiling azeotropy at a specific composition. Now the boiling point of a mixture will be what? More as compared to the individual pure components in the mixture. The best example, water and nitric acid. Nitric acid, water, they form maximum boiling azeotropy. Maximum boiling azeotropy. Do you know the boiling point of water? That will be 100 degrees Celsius, and the boiling point of nitric acid, that will be the 86 degrees Celsius. Okay, now in this mixture, if you see the nitric acid by mass 68% and the mass by 32% by mass of water, the mixture will boil at which temperature? 120.5 degrees Celsius. Now if you see the boiling point of mixture, which is 120.5 degrees, which is more than that of the pure components water and nitric acid. That's why this is called maximum boiling azeotropy. Maximum boiling